what that says is it mattered. And far too few kids get to experience what it feels like to have a brotherhood or sisterhood, and to go to battle, to go to war, and the laughter, the tears of the frustrations, the anger, getting angry with each other, overcoming that, working through stuff. And at the end of it, you just cry because the thought of it being over, it hurts. That's special. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio, not with my co-host, Coach Mia today, but I have the one and only Coach Brae, our Director of Basketball Operations for 5-Star Life. Brae, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Love having Brae on here. We're going to have a great show. If you just tuned in, really want to encourage you to make sure you check us out online at 5starlife.org. You know, we're on a mission to change culture, sports, education, and ultimately we're having so much success, and you can have a huge impact in your community by bringing us to your local community. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more, or maybe you've been looking for a place to volunteer, get involved, or maybe donate. You can do all that at 5starlife.org. Also, you can listen to this show or watch this show anywhere that podcasts are streamed. We're also on YouTube at the 5-Star Life. So please be sure to like it, subscribe to it so you don't miss an episode, and you can go back through and archive all those great shows, and then you can share them with your friends and family. So we're new to doing it on YouTube, and even the podcast is somewhat new. So we're trying to build a followership just because we're adding value. We've been doing this for 18 years, impacting kids and teachers and parents and coaches. But now we're kind of taking it to the world because there's all this technology. So we're pretty excited about that. Be a part of helping spread the word.
I'm a big podcast guy, and I've gone back and listened to all the episodes that you guys have done, and it's been fun to go through.
You've listened to every
one of them. Yeah.
Holy, yeah. You're the man. Wow.
I'm the number one fan. So.
You are the number one fan. So give me some feedback. Since you're a podcast guy,
yeah.
How is be serious? This is unscripted if you're just watching this. Be honest. Give us a little rating. How are we doing?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, the content, I mean, the show's a little different than traditional podcasts that I listen to, you know? I mean, I think of podcast as in free flowing, not that this isn't, but
sure,
but less, not scripted, but we have an agenda that we want to accomplish with our episodes. We have a point of emphasis, whether it's a focus on one of our curriculum lessons or whatnot. So it's a different, I don't want to say genre, but it's a different feel than what I normally listen to, but I really enjoy it. I think you and Mia do a great job talking to each other and going through our lessons, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. And then we, super producer Arnold back there has been putting together clips and whatnot that I've been seeing on Instagram, and it's just like, it's good stuff. So I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Check us out on social media too. By the way, you'll see it popping up if you follow us on social media. Arnold, super producer Arnold, has been just a boss clipping these things and just putting them out there to get people to kind of, chew on it.
That's one of the keys to me that I really enjoy. I have found podcasts just scrolling through Instagram or whatnot, just seeing a 25-second clip of like, oh, that's interesting, and I go listen, right? Yeah. So seeing our stuff on Instagram and Facebook and just clips of focal points of episodes has been cool, just seeing that.
So now I'm going to ask you another question, put you on the spot. Is there a certain show or topic that has been more helpful or challenging or has encouraged you?
I mean, anytime you guys talk about ruling, like I think the rule series has been because that's something everyone can always relate to. And when I hear those, I'm like, all right, I have to take control of this part of my life. And it's just a great reminder of that. So I've always enjoyed that series. Awesome.
Again, that's why we're encouraging you to not just listen or watch this, but share it with people. So, I mean, yesterday, literally, had this is pretty cool. A former 5-Star Life student who was in our after school program, 10 years ago, probably, I hired him to do some electrical work at my house, just some minor stuff. And so he's working back there, and I'm just catching up. Hey, man, how's it going? How's things going? And he's like, I'm dealing with this and this, and he's feeling the pressure because he's doing an apprenticeship and he's going to school. And I'm like, dude, you should listen to our show. He's like, you listen to podcasts? He's like, yeah, I do. So I'm able to share this, and it's actually a way to help people. So,
well, I took a phone call the other day for like 40 minutes. I talked to a family on the phone that heard about 5-Star Basketball through the 5-Star Life radio show podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And they didn't know about us. They had participated with another program and we talked for 40 minutes about, what our program is and what it's about. And ultimately they were attracted to what we were doing with basketball being secondary, so it was cool.
Very cool. Yeah. And Brae is in charge of running 5-Star Basketball, which is incredibly successful. It's the fastest growing, most successful basketball program, travel basketball program in Northern Indiana. And we're talking 30 travel teams this year, hundreds of kids in clinics and trainings and camps and leagues, so many opportunities. Talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that people have if their son or grandson or neighbor kid is interested in basketball.
Yeah, we have a ton of fall programming coming up. We have a preseason skills clinic coming up. Coach Harden, one of the best individual trainers you will find on the basketball floor, is going to put your son or daughter through a series of drills that are going to enhance their game and get them ready for their season, right? So you think preseason work. First thing that comes to my mind as a coach is conditioning, right? You're going to do some conditioning. You're going to, work on your game around the rim, your finishing skills. You're going to shoot. You're going to dribble, all those things. Whatever it's going to take to prepare you for your school tryouts, right, is the point of the preseason skills clinic, to give you an advantage going into that. We have winter. Believe it or not, we're already talking about winter travel.
Nobody
teams.
wants to hear that, Brae. It's right now where we're filming. Recording, it is sunny and beautiful.
Yes.
And that's what we want to think. And it's warm too.
But we've got winter travel ball coming
Winter's coming.
So the tryouts for that are coming up the week of September 11th. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we alternate boys and girls on those nights. So take a look at our website to find more specific details on that, so I don't confuse anybody by saying some times right here on the podcast. But 5starbasketball.org, and that season lasts through mid-January, mid-February, depending on gender. Boys go a little bit longer, girls finish a little sooner. It's the same version of our travel teams from the summer, just different age groups, through the winter. And the winter is one of my favorite times of travel ball, because to me, it's more, you get like the practice time. I feel like you get more of that, and like, to me, that's where a lot of the development occurs, and we get to spend more time on our curriculum and those types of things. So I always enjoy the winter season.
And I would say for parents who are thinking about signing their kids up for the winter program, travel program, really encourage you to move quickly and make sure to try out, because we're growing and scaling, but it has a limitation. So rather than field a team and just throwing anybody out there, like, we have vetted coaches that are going through our curriculum, they're trained. So it's just, we do it a little bit differently. So unfortunately, sometimes there's not room for everybody for us to give them a 5-star experience. So you want to make sure you're on that list. And obviously, we don't turn anybody away, because then if they're not ready for it, if we have too many kids, then we filter them into our developmental trainings and clinics, so they're still growing. But if you want them to be on a team experience where they're traveling, you want to sign up quick.
Yeah, and I would say, I get a lot of questions all the time. Well, what if my son or daughter's not ready for that? I'm like, just try out. Who cares? Like, let's see where you stack up. And if you're one of the better players, great. If you're not, then, like you said, we've got these developmental programs we can put them through. And it's just about the experience. I've never once had a kid say, I regret coming to your tryout because I wasn't good enough. Never has that happened. So bring them. Let's see where they stack up. And then wherever that is, we'll find a good home for them.
Yeah, for sure. So, in today's show, we're going to spend some time talking about basketball and the impact basketball can have in your kid's life. There are so many research articles you can read about the power of sports in general. Literally, they're building facilities all over the country, sports facilities. Part of the research they're using talks about the fact that wherever kids are actively playing sports, the pipeline to prison is reduced, graduation rates increase. There's so many positive things that come through sports. And we don't worship and bow down at the altar of basketball or any sport. We just see basketball in every sport being a tool to teach these skills that kids need to survive. Not just survive, but to thrive and live a 5-star life.
Yep.
So we got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back with more Brae Beadles, director of 5-star basketball. Going to dive into some more of the programs right after this. Be sure to like this, subscribe to this, and share it with a friend.
Did you know that you can bring the values, lessons, and mindsets Coach Seth discusses on the 5-Star Life podcast to your local community? Schools are searching for programs and content that work. Just a simple introduction to your teacher or principal could be a game changer in your community. Inquire at 5starlife.org and someone from our team will be in touch.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with the Director of Basketball Operations for 5-Star Life, Coach Brae Beadles. Brae, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, we were talking in the first segment about just the impact 5-Star Life basketball is having, different ways that parents can get involved. By the way, if you just tuned in, really want to encourage you to go to our 5-Star Life website at the5starlife.org, and also check us out anywhere that podcasts are streamed, as well as newly on YouTube at the 5-Star Life. Be sure to like this show. Be sure to subscribe to the show. And then share it. If this is valuable, if you hear things that are like, man, that was really good, go ahead and share it. But Brae, you're talking about basketball and the impact we're having and some of the ways that people can get involved with basketball. And again, it is not just about the sport. It is about impacting. I mean, we have so many horrible data points about kids right now. I mean, they're depressed, they're anxious at levels that we've never seen. They're struggling in school. Teachers are telling me that kids don't want to learn. They don't want to show up. I mean, it's an epidemic of monumental proportions. And so the research says when kids get connected, when they get connected to groups, to clubs, to sports, and to coaches and mentors, that is what changes the game. And then when you put what we talk about in our research all the time, the number one determiner of our success or failure is our mindset. Put those two things together, you've got a home run, and that's what 5-Star basketball is doing.
Yeah, I mean, I relate it to, I think one of the most powerful things, whether it's teamwork or whatever, is peer accountability. So that can be thought of in a couple different ways. The first way, meaning like, is your team successful when you're not in the game? To me, that's like, whoa, okay, my teammates are really good. I have to elevate myself, right? So you can look at it that way, or you can look at it as, is it hard for you? Like, what feeling do you get inside of you when you let your teammates down? Like, not your sister, not your brother, they should feel bad if they let their parents down. But when you've worked your tail off with, 8 or 9 other teammates, and you've done something to let them down, how does that make you feel? Like, to me, it was one of the most excruciating experiences I could put myself through because I cared so much about my teammates. And so, let us help your kid work through that, through our teams and our mindset, how we want to attack those situations. And there's so much value in that. And, if your kid's sitting around or needs that experience, like let us help your kid.
Being a part of a team is so powerful. Kids learn so much because kids they hold each other accountable just naturally.
Yeah,
that's what they do. Apparently, there's an emergency. Pardon if you can hear that. Our office is in a busy. We do kind of live here. We spend more time here than at home. So we're in a busy place. But talk a little bit about the different programs, because I think it's not just travel basketball. You have other team format situations parents get their kids involved in?
Well, I mean, we have developmental leagues, so we're going to start open registration in the next couple of weeks for our youth development league. It's one of our most popular programs that we offer. It is a completely local league. So your son or daughter signs up. We put them on a team that practices here in Elkhart, does not travel outside the area to play games. We play all games locally, at our facility in Elkhart. And, to me, that's like, okay, you get the team aspect of a travel team, but you don't have to, go to Fort Wayne or go to Chicago to play. So that would be one different route for you. Obviously, camps and clinics. We talked a little bit earlier about our preseason clinic we've got coming up. Some small group training. Just getting all the students and the basketball players in groups and working on their games with others. So.
Good. In fall league is coming up.
Yes.
Right? Registration is open for that?
Registration is open for our high school fall league. It's 9th through 12th graders. We have boys and girls divisions. We also have separate divisions for JV and varsity. It was the first year we did that last year. It was awesome. It really enhanced our JV league, and it really emphasized even more how high level that the varsity division is. Just separating them. It was a better experience for everybody involved. Mm-hmm. So we did not have enough girls last year to do separate divisions. So I'm hoping that the league continues to grow where we can do a JV and a varsity division for girls. Worst case, we'll have a division for girls to play. But that's our fall league is one of the best ways that kids that are either playing a fall sport or are just looking to get more, time in the gym of the season finishes leading up into, your school season, your school tryouts. So it's just a great way to get back in basketball shape. There's no shape like basketball shape, right? So, get yourself back acclimated, moving laterally, jumping, all those types of things that it takes to be in shape for basketball. It's a super popular league. It's very competitive. We've got our best players in our travel program involved in it. It's a lot of fun. I'd encourage you guys to be a part of it.
And they can check it out where?
5starbasketball.org.
There we go.
No practices. You just come Sundays and play 2 games.
It's just playing.
Not a huge time commitment. Just 2 games on Sundays for 4 weeks.
And the fun thing about that is, kids get to actually just kind of go play.
Yeah. So we don't have coaches. We do that on purpose. We want to see who's a natural leader, who handles adversity without, look, they're kids. They're going to fail at some point, right? But who's leading them through those rough moments of who's naturally doing that as a player. We're evaluating those teams for our own purposes of, hey, this kid handled this situation. He fits on this travel team for us or whatever, right? It's constant evaluation, just like everything you're doing in life. And so we purposely don't have coaches. Now we are there monitoring situations. Sure. If something gets out of hand, we will handle it. But it's there to have kids develop their leadership skills and be around other teammates and lead. So
it's also interesting because kids don't have the excuse of, man, my coach didn't like me.
Yep.
And I'm not getting playing time because kids, they know who should be playing.
Yes.
It's always amazing because whenever you hear kids saying, oh man, my coach didn't like me, or it's politics or whatever, all you have to do is I always tell parents, you should really just forget the coach. Just go ask the players in the team. Go ask the starting 5.
Yeah.
Just ask one of the starting 5 and say, hey, why is so-and-so not playing? And they'll tell you why.
100% they will.
It's just one of those things.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. So 5starlife.org. We're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're in studio here, and we just recorded a lesson for our curriculum for kids that tens of thousands of kids will go through, and we're starting a new theme. Our next theme that we're filming for is called Breakthrough. Just really, Brae, just to help people break through and get to the next level, and especially kids who COVID has taken a lot out of the sales of kids. Like some kids have not bounced back from that still. And our whole message is it's you are not too far gone. It's not over. I just had a kid, actually we posted one of our clips from the show on social media, and a kid that was in 5-star a long time ago just reached out and he's struggling and I told him what I'm telling everybody here. I'm like, it is not too late. You're still young. You can get out of this. You can get there, but there's some things you have to do. And so we were talking about the whole series we're filming is talking about a breakthrough in your social life. And as a coach, you see the value of team sports and helping kids socially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to even measure, like the impact that it has. It's one of those things where when you've committed to something and then you've made that commitment with other members, like just the accountability in that, and then just the like camaraderie, the natural camaraderie that you get out of that is just second to none.
So the last travel basketball team I coach, I had the honor of coaching a group of guys, an incredible group of guys, and my son was included on that team. And these guys were just like the definition of overachievers.
Yeah.
They weren't tall. They weren't super athletic. I mean, they're all good athletes. I wouldn't say anyone was not a good athlete.
Sure.
They're good athletes.
Yep.
But long story short, they overachieved. And the experience was so powerful as a coach. In the last tournament, the last game, when we're done, I mean, tears. Guys are just hugging each other and tears. What that says is it mattered. And far too few kids get to experience what it feels like to have a brotherhood or sisterhood and to go to battle, to go to war, and the laughter, the tears of the frustrations, the anger, getting angry with each other, overcoming that, working through stuff. And at the end of it, you just cry because the thought of it being over, it hurts.
Yeah.
That's special.
Super special. Well, it's like that group too, when you talk about breaking through, it's like, it's no accident that they were successful. Yep. You guys won that tournament in Grand Rapids, and it's not an accident that you guys just won,
Sure.
And like, you don't realize that in the moments, like in the day-to-day grind, you're not thinking like, oh, okay, you're just thinking about what's the next thing I have to do to continue to be successful, right? And it's the same thing when you're talking about your life, like trying to break through something. When you break through, you're like, okay, you don't realize like everything that you just done to get to that point, you know? And like when you're in the grind of it, you don't see it, same thing in sports, same thing in life. And when you have that moment and you realize, holy cow, that was like this didn't just happen.
Nope.
Yeah.
Habits, actions, the compound effect. All right, good stuff. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Five Star Life is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to changing the face of culture by changing kids' mindsets. Since 2005, we've impacted hundreds of thousands of lives thanks to the generous support of individuals, small businesses, corporations, and foundations. Are you interested in helping Five Star Life grow into all 50 states? With your donation or introduction, you can help bring Five Star Life to your community, school, and state. Go to fivestarlife.org and send us an email today. That's FIVESTARLIFE.org.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth. I'm joined in studio with our Director of Basketball Operations, Brae Beadles. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So excited to have you on. We just filmed a curriculum lesson themed helping kids break through in their social life. And, we've had a whole series, and we've broken most of these lessons down in our podcast as well. So you can go back anywhere podcasts are listened to or on YouTube and actually catch up on what we're talking about if you like what you've heard so far. But just talking about this whole, social life piece that kids seem to be struggling with like never before because, technology is changing the way kids interact. So they sit around their phones in front of their screens instead of like getting in a vehicle or asking to, ride their bike over to their friend's house. They're Snapchatting, they're messaging each other. So their face-to-face interaction is much different than we grew up. And so we did this whole lesson just basically talking about how can we help you get over this phase where kids are at, where they feel like they're just socially awkward. They don't know how to connect. They don't know how to engage. They don't really want to step into the arena. And so we broke down a lesson just saying, listen, first of all, every single person on the planet can win with people. So there's this huge misnomer that goes like this. Some people are great with connecting with others. Some people aren't. You either have it or you don't. You're born with it, you don't have it. Not true. I mean, there's so much research that says, no, we're hardwired to be connected relationally. Like we need to be connected relationally if we want to thrive, but we're also born with the hard wiring. So, your house is hardwired for electricity, for Wi-Fi, for all this stuff. But you have a choice to connect to that power. I mean, you can, Brae, if you're watching YouTube, he's got the cool slicked back hair. He's got gray hair.
Rick Riley.
And so I was like, who's that? so he's got the slick, Pat Riley look. And I'm not sure if you just let that air dry or what you do with that.
You really want to know?
Yeah. Tell me about that.
It's just all natural air dry.
Okay.
And I put a little product in it. But I have to, or else it'll poof out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you actually plugged into the power and used a hair dryer, it would be like a main.
Yeah, it would be wild.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It'd be like 80s.
Yes.
Which would be kind of cool.
I'd look like a AC/DC guitarist.
Halloween ideas.
Yes.
So my point is like, people don't like grab a bucket and wash their clothes out in the sidewalk or in their front yard. Why? Because they have a washing machine. They plug it into the power source. We don't build fires out in front of our houses and cook on open fire anymore. We just plug our stove in and use that.
Yep.
I'm telling you, every single person on the planet is hardwired. They have the power to connect relationally with other people and get really good at it. The problem is they're not tapping into the power source. And one of the power sources is called social awareness, the ability to comprehend and understand how people think and feel in reading the room in that moment and then appropriately engaging them in the process. That's social awareness. It's a skill that we have to actually tap into. It's all there, but you have to learn how to, for somebody that's like learning how to use a new piece of technology or something like a new TV, you plug it in, there's this learning, there's a skill of learning how to use this new Xbox or this new TV or this new smartphone. There's some learning that goes on to really leverage the power behind it. Same is true with learning how to connect with people. And so what we tell people, and we told kids in this lesson, you've got to tap into this thing, but it's going to require sacrifice. Like you're going to have to sacrifice, and we define that as like giving up something now for something better later on, or giving up something that I want to help somebody else win. And we say, if you want to connect socially, you have to sacrifice your desire to focus on self. We often think about social interaction and it's a selfish thing. Like, I want to be connected. I want to network. I want to have a girlfriend. I want to have a wife. I want to have friends. I want to have community. And it's all selfish. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but there's a point in a previous lesson we talked about narcissism. When we're narcissistic, our eyes are on ourselves. That does not attract people. That does not serve us well. So the number one step you can take to being socially aware is just getting your eyes off yourself. So when you step into a room and you're thinking only about yourself, you can be stuck in your own insecurities, your own awkwardness, your own fears. But when you get your eyes off yourself and you enter the arena, you enter the room, you enter, even if it's one person, and you're really just thinking about, man, what's going on with Brae? Like, what's his body language saying? What are his eyes saying? I wonder how he's doing. Like, who is this guy? What's he about? And so the second thing we tell kids is, if you can get your eyes off yourself, and then number two, if you can treat every single person you interact with like they're the most important person in the world, it will change the way you approach social interaction.
Yeah. Why do you think kids struggle, are in such a rut with that right now?
It's technology. It really is. I think the other piece of it, unfortunately, they have been, their growth has been stunted because, growing up without technology, whenever I was with my parents at a grocery store, at an event, at church, or wherever, whenever I was with them, kids tag along. And in the process of tagging along, you get to see adult interaction.
Yeah.
You get to watch body language. You get to see how they talk. You get to see how, oh, dad said that and this person laughed. Oh, okay, that's good. Or dad said this and this person scowled, or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're learning by experience. And what's happened with technology is now little Johnny and little Seth and little Brae, instead of being in the observation space, taking it in, they aren't getting that experience. They're on technology. And they're missing out all of this social interaction, this social learning.
Well, and they'd rather FaceTime you than see you in person. That's the crazy thing, I think. Just getting to know some of these kids the last couple of years is they don't even call people. They FaceTime everything. Everything's a FaceTime. I'm like, why am I getting a FaceTime from this guy right now? I'm like, so I'm like reluctantly answer. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, just normal conversation. I'm like, you can call me next time. Like, I don't have to FaceTime you every single. But like, he would rather do that than even call or even probably see me, which is bizarre because you're FaceTiming me. But
and that's generational.
Yeah.
So what's happening is this: like our kids, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
They won't call. I mean, they will call sometimes, but they will FaceTime.
Yeah.
They want to see you, which is all good. That's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's generational.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful stuff, and we're just scratching the surface. So I want to kind of give a tease in this episode of the show for what we're going to talk about, because next you're going to hear from, we're going to sit down with Olivia Jackson, one of our former 5-Star Life students. Stay tuned for this because it's so cool where she's at in her journey and the impact 5-Star Life had on her, from going from being in 5-Star at 13 to now working for 5-Star and having a scholarship to go to Ball State. You'll hear more in the next segment.
5-Star Life offers year-round programs for kids at our 350-acre training facility that we call Summit. These programs focus on 3 core components. First, each program includes lessons from our curriculum that targets kids' mindset. Secondly, each program teaches a skill like equine, archery, blacksmithing, basketball, fishing, boating, and many more. Thirdly, our programs connect kids to mentors we call coaches, who are trained to help kids live a 5-star life. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more or sign up your kids.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with a couple special guests. First of all, my co-host, Coach Mia. Welcome back.
Thank you, Seth.
And we have our own Olivia Jackson in the house. Yay. Welcome back to 5-Star Life.
Thank you.
So she's a special guest because she is a 5-Star Life student, been in 5-Star Life since you're, 13 maybe? Something like that, maybe? 7th grade?
Junior high, 8th grade, yeah.
Junior high, 8th grade, okay. So if you just tuned into the show, really want to encourage you to take a moment to go to 5starlife.org to learn more about how you can get involved in helping us change the whole culture of sports, of education, and really ultimately education. So Olivia, this is where she comes in, because this girl joins 5-Star and just absorbs everything we offer. And we're super proud of her because the girl absorbed our values and has just thrived in life. Life is hard, but you're thriving. Tell us a little bit about, and I know it's weird because I'm bragging on you, because I'm proud of you. And at 5-Star, we teach to be servant leaders and live by sacrifice, integrity, all these things, and not to brag on ourselves. But there's something about talking about the success you've had. Talk about back in middle school, what middle school was like for a moment, and maybe how 5-Star Life helped.
So I guess really it's always just been me and my mom. My dad left we moved to Indiana actually to be closer to him. So originally we were from Grand Rapids. So Concord was like my very first Elkhart community school that I ever went to. So it was very hard to make friends and fit in because I was not used to anything around here. And then we got through 7th grade, we were fine. And then 8th grade, a lot of my friends that year before had been in 5-Star. And they were just like, you should come, like, we'll all be together, we can all hang out, it'd be perfect. So then I really got into it, and Abby was my coach, and I loved Abby. We really connected very well. She was very, I don't even know the word, but she just cared for all of us, and I really appreciated that, especially coming from, like, a group of girls who also had the same experiences that I had. So it was nice to be able to connect with someone, but also be able to meet new people at the same time. And then going forward, my freshman year of high school, my grandma passed away, and my grandma was my rock. And I really fell into a very depressive state, and I just had no motivation to do anything. And I kind of went downhill for a little bit. And I basically just spent a lot of my time in my room not talking to anybody, and I honestly really hated that because I knew I had so much more to give. So sophomore year, the pandemic hit, and again, depressive state, we were at home, stuck. And I ended up babysitting a lot, and I realized that I have a thing for children. Like, I just have a gravitational pull towards children, and I just love it. And I told my mom one day after babysitting, I was like, I think I want to do this forever. And she was like, do you do what you want? It's your life. Like, we're just here for it. And what's so crazy is that the basketball team used to refer to me as Mama Liv. And I never understood why until I did that babysitting for that whole year, and I realized how motherly instinct I have. And so junior year, the Career Center offered early childhood education. We had to find an internship going into senior year. I was not old enough to work for Growing Kids, which is usually who they partner with. So I was actually the first person to ever work for 5-Star out of the whole Elkhart Community Schools, which was awesome. And I fell in love. Like, I did Summit for that first year, those first couple of months, and I absolutely loved it. And then I got to go to the ELA, and I got to watch that form, and I got to be a part of that. So that ELA has a special part in my heart. Summit has a special place in my heart. But all of those little kids that I get to wake up every morning and help become a better person every single day is something that I just want to do forever. Like you said, we're changing the mindset of kids, and that's something that sits with me going into teaching in public schools, because a lot of the kids I talk to are not happy with schools right now, and I don't want to be that teacher. I want to be an inclusive, loving, caring teacher that can tell kids every day, like, you should be respectful, you should have courage, you should have integrity. I want to be able to bring that to the world, because I know so many kids right now are not experiencing that.
Well said.
Yes, I mean, I know. One thing that came to mind was that I know when you first came to the ELA,
which is the 5-Star Early Learning Academy. So it's 5-Star for 2 to 5-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. And the one cool thing that I think Lori told you all, like, in training, is that you, at this age, you're really developing the mindsets. And what a special time in a child's life, and a special gift that you have. I've watched Olivia in action. She's babysat my grandkids, and you have the most incredible just spirit around children, and this demeanor. It's just calm, it's loving, and they do flock to you.
Yeah, I don't really understand where it came from. I don't know. I'm an only child on my mom's side. I have 4 siblings on my dad's side. I have an older brother who'll be 23 this year. I have an 8-year-old sister. I have a 3-year-old sister, and I have a 2-year-old brother. I'm not very close to my siblings because we don't see each other very much. But I think just knowing that I'm a big sister helps me relate to other kids. But I'm really not too sure where it came from. I've always been the only child. I've always been by myself. So I don't know if it's just like...
It's just the way you were designed.
Yeah,
it's the way God
think
created
so.
you. It's the cool thing about it, and I love this because we tell kids in 5-Star all the time, like, one of your number one priorities should be when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, is to say yes to as many good opportunities as possible. And that's what you've done. Like,
yeah, I would not be where I am today if I never said yes that day to working for you guys, and I appreciate that more than anything.
Well, and yes to babysitting, and yes to just these little, it's the small yeses that lead to the bigger yeses. Like, you wouldn't have had the opportunity if you didn't have some experience, right? So you put yourself in a position through the exposure, through saying yes. And so, well done. So, Olivia, talk a little bit because education is a big part of what 5-Star Life does. But really what we're trying to do is just get kids to tap into their own greatness and through saying yes and through exposure, finding out what they're wired to do. And so, education, I mean, to go into the field you want to go into, it requires, going to higher education. Talk about, where you're at and how you got there and how that's going.
So my sophomore year, Concord introduced a thing called Minuteman U, which is basically early college at high school. So going into my junior year, every credit I was taking that was considered a core credit, so like your math, your English, that kind of things, were automatically Ivy Tech credits. So after the first year of doing that, I was like, this is a breeze. We can keep going. Let's do it again for senior year. So we did it again for senior year. But little did I know that those 2 years of high school and those 2 years of college credits were going to lead me up to when I got to college this past year. I was a second semester sophomore, my very first semester of college. So here I am, a tiny little freshman, in all of my sophomore, junior classes. No clue what's going on. Everyone is, oh, you must be so smart, you did it. And I have no idea what's going on whatsoever. So I, before I went to school, I was really nervous about being so young but being so ahead that I signed up for an acceleration program. And it was specifically important to me for this program because it was a first generation college student program, which I am, and it was also a multicultural program. So I was able to embrace with other kids that came from my background also. So I met a really good friend there, and we bonded instantly, and we are studying the same major, and we just hit it off, and we started talking about school and how her school didn't offer these kind of programs and how much further ahead I am than she is. So it's just crazy. When I go to school next week, I will be a second semester junior as a sophomore.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll be done with school almost 2 years early compared to everyone else.
It's incredible. What would you say to kids who are in high school or middle school that maybe they're struggling with school? Why does school matter? What would you say to them about the opportunities that are in front of them? Because a lot of them go to schools that have the same opportunities.
I just recommend getting close to one teacher your whole school career. Like my freshman year, I was really close to one of my English teachers, and she propelled me. She made me want to go to school. I enjoyed going to school because of her. And then again, my sophomore year, I got a teacher like that. Just because you won't get to keep the same teachers in high school, I recommend just finding one that you can just connect to and they'll be there for you. And I think what really got me going was my senior year teacher, Miss Urednik. She taught us English. She was God sent, and I praise that woman till the day I die. She was amazing. She made learning so much fun. She made me want to be there, but more importantly, she treated us like we were actual human beings and we weren't just going to school to learn. And she always told us, yes, you make mistakes. Yes, this will happen, but we just have to get back up. And then once I told her I was involved with you guys, she's a big supporter of 5-Star, and she does check in all the time and see how we're doing and see how things are going. She's an amazing lady. So I would just recommend finding that one person that you can trust, to be your safe space when you're at school, because school can be overwhelming and there's things that come up, or even a coach or anything like that. I know sports are a big thing in high school. I just found a better connection with my teachers than I did with any other resources that I had.
So much wisdom, the fact that you're seeking these relationships and pursuing them and saying yes to those two, it's a big deal. We are out of time. Stay tuned next week to hear the rest of this theme, breaking through in your social life. Thanks for tuning in.
At 5-Star Life, we are changing the face of culture through education and sports by changing the most important piece of a human being's life, their mindset. If you are interested in being a part of our journey, please visit 5starlife.org for more information on volunteer and donation opportunities.